Welcome, and welcome to the Heatcast with myself, Seán Ryan. Join me on the show today is one of Galway's kind of finest artists. He's not just a rapper, he's also a producer. It's A10sín Dj Green. How you getting on, my man?
Here, man. Appreciate you having me on the show.
Um, I'm delighted to have you on. Every time I kind of talk, first question that comes to mind for me is like, what does the artist name mean and stuff like that? But obviously, you've two artist names.
Yeah.
Why is there no kind of correlation? Like, why didn't you say your rap name is like Mr. Green or something, or kind of make A10sín into DJ A10sín or something like that?
I just off the bat, I wanted it to be different. Like when we were kind of speaking before, I was talking about like, the whole mysterious kind of MF Doom kind of thing. And like when I first started off rapping, I didn't really tell anyone that I was A10sín. Like besides a couple of lads, like maybe 3 or 4 lads who were in my circle, I didn't tell anyone that I was going doing this. And I wore the mask as well, obviously. And just the name A10sín, like I'll be honest, it's kind of like it's not got some deep meaning or whatever. It's like obviously it's meant to mean attention, like pay attention to me. And then the A10, like I don't know if it's the case anymore, but the A10 fighter jet like used to have the most powerful machine gun like in the world, like shoots like 16,000 bullets a fucking minute or something like this. So I was like, kind of, kind of cool rap wise, I guess. So I wanted to keep them separate because be surprised, man. Like I had friends for a year, if not 2 years, even guys to this day, like who did not know like that we were the same person. Like because half the time, like times I'd have my top off as well, like you'd see all the tattoos, the rings, the same, the same physique, like, and like some people would still be like, I have a feeling that like why did you have matching tattoos or something? I'm like, yeah, matching tattoos. Like all of our tattoos are matching. Like, so that's kind of why, I wanted to keep them separate and just as well, like rapping under the name DJ Green. Just it's I don't know. Like I know some rappers do have like there's DJ Quick and stuff like that, but I just didn't want to be under that name, and I just thought it was a cool opportunity to because originally I did have plans to change DJ Green because it was just kind of I really like there's a million other DJ Greens in the world. I don't think there's any more in Ireland that I know of, but there's loads around the world. It's not a very original name. But at that point, everyone I knew in the hip hop scene was calling me Green. Like, so it was kind of like, is it really worth it to rebrand it? And they were like, I think it's a cool name. I was like, fair enough. The only reason I came up with it because I was smoking weed when I was like 17. I was like, yeah, I'm DJ Green. Like, just up from there. So yeah, like as I said, I wanted to keep kind of everything separate and with the attention and just wearing the mask and kind of not telling anyone it was me for a good while. It worked. Like I would have liked to have maybe have been as good as I am now, not to toot my own horn too much, but I've obviously improved a lot. Come out now with the mysterious side of things where people might be paying a bit more attention to me then. No pun intended. But it was still cool. Like, I mean, I'd literally sit next to people and they'd be like, I feel like I know him. Like, it's just like, I'm literally wearing the same jacket he's wearing right now. Like, it's like no one else has that jacket. Like, I was very surprised. I honestly thought people would cop straight away because I didn't put a voice on. Like I have a very how to say neutral Irish accent. Like you couldn't really pinpoint where I'm from. Just say I'm Irish. Like so I didn't have any like particularly like I wasn't trying to put on this strong fucking powerful accent like a lot of the Dublin or the Limerick rappers might have where it's like it's potent like it's very like you can tell straight where they're from. Like you can feel the culture of that city from just their voice like. But with me, it wasn't really the case. Like, so I kind of really thought it'd be fair, obvious, but you'd be surprised. Like, I mean, to this day, I tell people straight off that we're the same person, and put it quite openly out there in the public. But I still come across people that like don't know it or don't believe it. Like,
yeah, no, for sure. Like, definitely for when I was doing my research originally and trying to get knowing of the scene and stuff like that, I thought two different people did not really kind of make that correlation straight off, and then it was kind of like, oh, tension's appearing on a lot of DJ Green's tracks, and it's like you never see them in the same room together. But yeah, no, I can imagine that you've had that kind of, as I said, like I was kind of surprised there wasn't like a correlation or like a secret message that kind of joins the two together kind of thing.
I'll just cut in and say this because it was a funny thing at the very start of when I had A10sín. Like I made up like a backstory from him and everything. Like, and I said basically that like I had, and people believe this, and this was his bio, like on all the artist pages was like I met him in the woods in Wicklow, just like hanging about, like, and we just got talking and fucking. He said he was a rapper and he wanted to do songs, and he found out I was a producer, but he's getting sent like away for like 10 years in prison for a crime he didn't commit. Like. people for ages believed this, like, and they were like, "Who is this guy, man? Like, why is he in jail? All this shit, like, and where did you meet him? Like, I was like, he was living in the Wicklow Mountains, like." And it just got more ridiculous as you read the stories. Like, he used to write raps on like fucking tree bark with like dead at like roadkill blood and stuff like this, and just yeah, like at that point, I think when people started seeing that, okay, it just seems like a bullshit story written by Connor. Like, so at that point, you know, various still, yeah, some people really investigated it too. Like, because I had a couple of people who accused me. They're like, "You're definitely the same person." I was like, "Nah, man," and like they were going out of their way to like grab pictures and like screenshots, like. So like, do you like have matching tattoos, or what the fuck's the story here, like, or what's that? Like, some people didn't cop to it at all, but other people were pure, just like really into it, like detective style, like. And I was like, you got me, like. I wasn't really all that much at all, like.
It nearly came out as kind of a conspiracy theory, so it's
Yeah,
in some
like
regards.
I should have left it, to be honest. But then again, like maybe I probably, you know, it would probably hinder my popularity in a sense too, because I wasn't using the platform I'd already built, like with DJ Green, with like, you know, I've with a few thousand likes or subscribers here and there. I was basically starting from scratch again, and like I guess the more beneficial part was that like my songs were produced by DJ Green, so at least that's a more known name. So it would have inclined people to kind of jump into it a bit more and give it a chance, like, because I'd be sharing it on my other profiles and stuff like that.
And like oh sorry, why did you choose kind of rap music to kind of get into, to kind of express yourself and kind of bring this character to life, attention, and obviously DJ Green as well?
Well, like the funny thing is about most people that are in rap, they were always into rap. Like I was a metalhead and a rock, like, you know, into rock when I was young. Like I wasn't a like a what do you say, a mosher or a metalhead. Like I was just a regular fellow, but like I listened to metal and rock like mainly, like. And I was into, the only reason I was into hip hop at all, I'd say, was from playing San Andreas. Like, just that's how I got into it. Like it's the same with 80s music from playing Vice City and stuff. Like Grand Theft Auto does its works there when you listen to those radio stations. So I was listening to like Eazy-E and like NWA and stuff, and then I'd say it wasn't until I was like 16, 17 before I like hardcore got into hip hop. And the way that kind of came about was just me and one of my mates just kind of shared a common interest in music. And he started making like remixes with like instrumentals and acapellas from other songs. So he might like get a two-pack acapella and put it over an Eminem beat or something like that. And I thought that was pretty cool. So I got into that, like, and from there he's a school teacher now. And then I just made it ended up becoming my life's passion, like, and then just got more into it. And like, I guess it was a way of expressing myself. You know, I wouldn't say with my rap, like besides like say the field literature stuff I do with Trust, I don't really go for like a conscious preachy side or anything like that. It's just kind of whatever comes to mind. You know, it's like if I'm thinking I'm gonna write, you know, a crazy over the top violent song or something like that, or just about anything else, like it's not necessarily coming from Connor, like it's just, you know, it's whatever my imagination kind of cooks up in that sense, like.
Yeah, and like obviously being a DJ and stuff like that, do you tend to make all the beats for yourself for attention, or do you kind of try and outsource or try and get different inspirations for
Well,
other
that
tracks and stuff?
it's like I wouldn't often go, I've got this song in my head, I'm gonna make this kind of beat and write to it. Like I usually just I make beats, and then I come across the odd one where I'm like, yeah, I'll use that. You know, basically the best ones I'll keep for myself and sell off or give out the other ones, like. But yeah, like I wouldn't like it, like I'd say I have produced 97 or 98% of everything I've done under attention. But with my latest project, the trap project, I said, like, because as well I don't really have that much confidence in my trap beats, like I don't make so much of them, so like I wouldn't have liked to kind of put out a project that was all my beats where I wouldn't necessarily feel it's top of the range trap beats. So that's kind of why. But as well, I just wanted to do other stuff with other producers. Like I got Big Man Davey on it from the label. He's got the most beats on it, about 5 or 6 like really good ones. And I've got Caffeine on it, I've got Clover on it, I've got uh one beat that I just got today off Adept from Tipperary. I didn't even know he produced till he sent me these beats last night. Um, just a nice mix of other people's beats, but as well because I knew that they were all better at making trap than I was. Like, but yeah, like I do prefer to kind of work on my own stuff, but now I think it's kind of a case of, it was more of a case of at the start, like no one knew attention, so like I didn't really want to be going on asking people for beats. So it was very handy that I could just make my own beats and get the music out there rather than kind of having to kind of get to know people more. And then, you know, they may not necessarily make beats that are my style, or, you know, people are less likely to just fuck with someone off the bat if it's like, hey, I'm a new rapper, can, you know, send me a few beats. You know, I mean, I would buy beats, and I have bought beats, you know, because I'm a producer, I sell beats. I don't want to be the cunt asking someone for, you know, 10 free beats there, like, please, like, you know, I'm not gonna do that. Like, it's lousy. Like, some people obviously do give me free beats, but I do honestly put my hand out and say, like, I'll pay for that. Like, or, you know, most people usually tend to say no, because I'm usually working with someone I know closely anyway. So it's like, nah, it's fine, man. Don't mind it. Like, and tend to be the same as well. Like, but yeah, that's probably the first time I've done that. Like all of the main releases, so like the two Attention albums, the Field Literature album, were all that was my beats. And at least the latter two, the second Attention album and the Field Literature album, I mixed the entirety myself. I got help with the mastering then, but I think from now, I'm satisfied with my mastering skills. So from now on, I'm going to master everything myself for the most part, just because I kind of left it too long where I was kind of relying on other people to do it for me, just because I didn't really have confidence in it myself. But yeah, like, as I said, like, I tend to like to do it because, as well, you know, not necessarily everyone is so invested as I am. Like, for me, like, music is everything. It's all I do. Whereas everyone else has their job, or, you know, just kind of, they like to relax in the evening and all that stuff. And, you know, they like their time off. So it's more of a kind of, they'll get to it when they can. Whereas if I'm in control of everything, I can just get a project out there. And that's like, I don't rush my projects. It's just literally like, I've got the time to do it. You know what I mean? So like, what a project that might take someone over a year to do can take me 3 or 4 months, because I'm just working at it every single day. And it's handy like that. You don't have to wait on people. I'm not very patient, to be honest. Like, and I've had, like, I'm happy to give someone plenty of time to do tracks, but then, like, I've had people come like 18 months later and send me vocals for a song, and it's like expecting me to, like, just jump back into it. It's like you know, 18 months for that, like, for Christ's sake, come on. Like, I've done 3 projects since then. Like, that project's been released, it's done, like, you know what I mean? Like, so it is very handy from my own point of view just to be able to do it all myself and not really have to rely on people too much when it comes to stuff. Like, I can even do the artwork myself as well, like, you know, which is handy. Like,
Yeah.
next, I just need to learn how to make my own CDs from the bat. Like, I get a fella, Ricky Greenman Small. I'd recommend that to anyone who wants to get physical CDs done. If you're looking for someone, get into contact with him. You'll find him on my Facebook. But like, he does that for me. Like, he's made about 4 or 5 different albums for me on CD and done a fucking sick job of them. Like, so that's kind of something, well, I'd like to get into. And from there, then I've got everything basically ticked off. Like, I can just make it. It's basically the factory, the studio, and everything is in my room. Like, you know, so that's the best of what you could possibly ask for, I think, to be honest.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like, I have the Common Rough LP here in my hand, like, signed by Attention himself. So, like, and it looks like spot on. I definitely would recommend it, because it's a great album to get.
The name, when I was initially coming up with a rap name, kind of years before I became a rapper, my mate Oshin said Common Rough might be a cool one, because rough is the last word in my second name, McMurrow, and then common kind of sounds like Connor. So he was like, Common Rough, like, you know, common scumbag arsehole, basically. And not necessarily a compliment, but I was like, I considered it. But then obviously I came up with Attention years later, but I thought, like, I still really liked the name Common Rough. So I said Common Rough LP. Like, with the albums there, like the solo albums, I kind of do have a trilogy kind of in place, kind of similar to like the Slim Shady LP, Marshall Mathers, Eminem Show. They're a trilogy, but they're all on different vibes, and they all kind of express a different side of things. Like, Cretin LP was just kind of everything. And, like, I'll be honest, like, I have improved so much since then. I don't like a lot of the songs on that. There's probably like 2 songs that I'm like, that's a very good song. Outside of that, there's a lot of you know, shitty tracks there. And then the Common Rough was more of just kind of the slightly more mature, but still kind of very, you know, aggressive and dark and vile and stuff like that. And with the next one, I'm kind of trying to go for at least a more kind of conscious, mature point of view. Like, because I mean, there's only so much times you can rap about just, you know, basically, you know, Eminem type stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like the Slim Shady just shooting guns and smoking crack and all that. It's like, I don't actually smoke crack and don't shoot guns at people. Like I never do that stuff to like kind of top myself up and like that. It's just my kind of my personality and stuff like that. It's shock value and outrageousness and stuff like that. You know, so if I ever do that kind of stuff, it's all tongue in cheek, really. Like, you know,
Yeah, no, it definitely works for your character. Like it definitely kind of builds that attention vibe. Like because with the mask, it's kind of that kind of creepiness to it. And seeing some of the kind of the videos that you've done before for the character, it's very kind of its own thing. It's very defined. But obviously, like obviously the rap scene has always had kind of beef, whether it be over in America or over in the UK, and even probably some of it here in Ireland. Do you believe it's like a good thing for artists to have that kind of conflict with each other?
I mean, you can have friendly competition. Like there's a lot of guys I'm really good friends with, but I'm competitive with them. Like I see the shit they're doing, and it's not necessarily from like, I don't look at it from a point of view where it's like, oh, like that song's really good, I have to outdo him. I see it like he's doing really good, like I need to up my game. Like, you know, that I look at it from a more of an inspirational point of view. Like I've said it to a load of rappers that I think are better than me, and producers. It's like I don't look at your stuff and go like, get, you know, this kind of anal little like, oh fuck him, he's doing better than me, I'm gonna diss him in a song. It's more like, yeah, like I have to up my game because you're very, very good. Like, I mean, beef, like as I said, the friendly competition where it's not necessarily beef is a lot more healthy, and it's a lot more good for the scene, because some people just take it too seriously. Like, and I don't even mean like taking it too far, like getting violent or stuff. Like, it's like, it's like they think everyone cares about this little scuffle between two random lads, one in Kilkenny and one in Laois. Like, it's like, it's a waste of bloody time. Like, because you might as well just make music about something else. Like, I mean, like if someone dissed me, like, yeah, like I'd actually like, I'd go all out, like, and get the whole Bad Arts crew to demolish them. Like, but I wouldn't go looking for it. Like, because I mean, there's been people before, like they might talk shite or whatever or something like that. And it's like, people might say I should diss him or diss him. I was like, look, I'm not going to rise to it because it's just stupid. Like, we're, basically grown men. But if they come at me, like, I'm going to fucking end their career. Like, I put it that way. Like, and not me personally, because I don't necessarily consider myself to be a fucking unbelievable rapper who can kill any rapper. But with the Bad Arts crew, definitely, like, they're all, masters of the mic there. Like, so, I mean, I wouldn't be afraid if I've got them behind me. Like,
yeah, no, for sure. Like, and like talking about the Bad Arts Entertainment, how did that kind of form? And how was that kind of made and stuff?
Like I didn't really, I'd been to Same Difference gigs a couple of times throughout the years. I knew Hazy quite well for a few years, but I never really knew Simon or MCB. And then Size was just looking to start his own label, and he got into contact with a few people, and I was one of them. Like, and I said, yeah, definitely, man. Like, you're literally one of the best rappers in this country. Like, I'll be honest. Like, if he had more music out there, like in comparison to other rappers I consider to be top tier, like he probably would be very, very close to number one, if not number one for me. Like he's a very, very, very talented rapper. Like, and yeah, I said that was a no-brainer. I'd definitely join up and do that. And obviously lockdown kind of slowed it down a bit. We were kind of a few months getting in talks or whatever. And then yeah, like it's funny, like he's literally living down the road from me for like 4 or 5 years and didn't really know him. Like, and I just never really came across him at a lot of the gigs and stuff like that. So we never really got to know each other. And then just from there, like, I mean, technically, like, he's a good mate already. Like, obviously if you're on a label with someone, but like I've only still really known him properly for less than a year. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, just midsummer kind of, we really kind of got it off the ground. And then from there, like, we've gotten Big Man Davey was always on the cards because he would know Simon and MCB. And then Trust was already affiliated with me through field literature, and obviously they knew he was an unbelievable rapper, so it was a no-brainer to get him involved as well. And then Callum he lives over near Big Man Davey, and we were all listening to him, and we all kind of agreed, like, yeah, we could get him involved, because we're kind of trying to get everyone's quite different, at least, that's always good to have. Like, I mean, obviously we're on the kind of same level of what we like, but it's nice to have everyone kind of has their own different approach, so you're not just getting 5 of the same rapper. And yeah, like we've got plenty of projects in the works. Like, I already had my solo album kind of done before the label kind of really kicked off the ground. But like, I can say this much, like, every one of us has a solo project in the works, if not 2 or 3, and loads of collaborations that we're doing in between that as well, between each other. Like, because we haven't actually done a whole lot of music together yet, but just because it's so hard to get us all in the studio at the same time. Like, I live in Galway, like 2 of the lads live in Tip, and then the rest live in Limerick. Do you know what I mean? Like, and obviously with COVID, it's a bit contish that way. Like, but considering how bad it's been, like, you know, we've still gotten. It's going to be great when things kind of slowly get back to normal, where we can all just get into the studio for a day, and the amount of shit we get done. Like, because as well, the first few times we did it, we still didn't really know each other so well. So we were all kind of mostly just drinking and having the crack and getting to know each other, and that's the best way to do it. Like, so I'll be honest, you know, Doc, he'd be a producer on the label as well. Like, and he'd be very well experienced, a bit older than all of us. Like he was kind of getting a bit sick and tired of us just coming over, getting drunk and not really doing anything. But like, it was just a case of like, I don't think he really realized like a lot of us don't really know each other too well. So we're just kind of getting a feel for each other and getting to know each other. And that's, as I said, the best way to do it. But like, yeah, when the time comes, things get better. Like, we've got a studio there, 1 or 2 places to go in Limerick. And then I know Truss is trying to get a studio set up in his own place. That'll be Tip, and then mine in Galway. So we've got 4 places to really do lots of stuff there. But as well, like, even through the power of the internet, that's more most music gets done. Like, it's been very rare I've gotten the artist I'm doing the song with into the same room as me to do the song together, because, you know, we're all from different counties and stuff like that. So like, I mean, yeah, you can still make music through WeTransfer and all that stuff, which is great. But it is always better to be able to do the song together in the room and just have more crack doing it as well. Like,
yeah, no, for sure. And like, kind of looking back at kind of the work you've done with different artists, like you've named off a few there from the Bad Arts Entertainment. You worked with kind of comedian Sir Steve-O on a recent track, No Chorus. You worked with him back in 2018 for On In His Head, and which reached the charts of #1. And obviously No Chorus got #2 in the Irish charts for 21. How does that kind of feel for you, you know, that you made the beat and that, like, you know, you're kind of a part of it?
I didn't produce the beat on those tracks. I mixed and mastered them. And well, I mean, it was more so the case of that, like, I arranged the song, because it was kind of like Steve-O had no real knowledge of any of that stuff at all. So like, I really, really helped it. Like, if you took me out of the thing, like, there wouldn't be a song, and put it that way. In that sense, like, I didn't produce the beats, but I mixed. Me and a guy, Alton McDyer, mixed and mastered the first 2, and then the last one I did myself. But it was a case of like, it was by chance really I got involved from there. Like, his younger brother like knew me from years before or whatever. Like, we used to go drinking in town or whatever, and Steve-O just basically put up an ad on Facebook, like, looking for someone who produces beats or whatever. And I got involved with him then, and I did produce a few beats for him. He still hasn't used them yet. But he just, you know, he preferred to go for these beats, and that was fine. But like, it might seem a little rich to say like, oh, you only mixed and mastered them, but it's like, there was a lot there. Like, and I chose the direction of how the song sounded, and like, I gave him a lot of guidance on how he was going to go about it and which parts he should use and which parts he didn't. Because for the most part, the first 2, like, it was just loads and loads of vocal stems. Like, so I had to clear all that up and put it together and stuff like that. So I mean, like, a lot of people have said like, or do think I produced the beat. I didn't. And like, people always say like, I just say you did it anyways. Like, nah, I'm not going to do that. Like, but I mean, I did have a fair hand in, you know, the track being at the level it did, like, you know, so.
Yeah, because no, I only got that information off YouTube, and I think it has you down as produced and mixed and mastered, that kind of thing. So that was my bad. But yeah, like, mixing and mastering and stuff like that is like the biggest kind of part of making a track. So like, I hats off if I was wearing a hat. I am actually wearing a hat. To yourself, like, because that is impressive, especially from, you know, an Irish standpoint, that many mightn't know that people have created like some amazing tracks that have reached the chart levels, you know. So
yeah, no, it's definitely a great achievement to have under my belt, at least as well, more so from like a professional point of view. Like, you know, looks good on the LinkedIn, and, you know, like, it's just, if I was ever getting a job in the music industry, it's going to count more in my favor than it would if I say like, oh, you know, I produced for all these Irish rappers that the person probably hasn't heard of, like, you know what I mean? Where it's like, oh, well, I actually have a couple of songs that I worked on that were in the top 20, and I did the Bizarre tune as well. He did Panic Attack, like, and that was cool, mixing a song with lyrics from Bizarre on it. Like, you know, that's madness. Like, you know, when you really think of who this person is, like, that's a guy who's, you know, grew up with fucking Eminem. Like, you know, I've like, it's crazy like that. Like, there's a couple of guys I got into contact with over the years where I was like, I didn't really acknowledge at first like who I was working with. Like, there's a South Coast Army that are a Mexican group, and they bought a beat off me a couple of years ago, and then they released the song, and it was Project Pat on the hook, who's, you know, an affiliate member of 3 6 Mafia. It's Juicy J's brother, who's a Grammy winner. Like, and Project Pat is an artist I grew up listening to and would have influenced a lot of my music, like. And I saw him on it and I was like, oh, like, you know, did you rip that off a song? Like, and they were like, no, it's legit. Like, because he was doing the same hook that they'd come up with initially. Like, and it was like, no, like we actually got into contact with him and he just offered to do it for free. And I was like, that's crazy. Like, so, I mean, okay, it wasn't Project Pat I was dealing with directly, but he's still on a song that I produced. Like, and there was a couple of affiliate members of Wu-Tang Clan, like now, or the Wu-Tang Killer Bees, like I can guarantee, like when I say they're affiliates, like there is a lot of Wu-Tang affiliates. These are ones that like 99% of people have not heard of. So I'm not saying it was like Ghostface Killah or Kill Army or Sons of Man or something like that, but it still had the Wu-Tang logo on it, like whether it was tiny or not. Like, so I still think that's a fucking pretty cool achievement. Like, it was just, you know, it's just random. Like, it's funny how, like, at least especially at the time, I wasn't really producing anything for anyone. Like, the people were kind of taking beats off me as a favor at the time. And the next thing, this guy messaged me, Supreme a la Magnetic, from New York. And he's just like, oh, I like these kind of Wu-Tang type beats you have on YouTube. Like, would you be interested in, you know, giving them to me for a collaboration? Like, I'm affiliated with Wu-Tang. And I was kind of like, he probably isn't affiliated with Wu-Tang, but like, whatever, I don't care. Like, this is a New York rapper. Like, but then it was legit. Like, and some of the guys he got on it, like the beats, like, they're not known, but they're like solid, good rappers from New York and stuff like that. So, I mean, I honestly, like 90% of my music up until a certain point of time was all in America and Australia and stuff like that. You know, I wasn't really getting anything done in Ireland at all. So, I mean, if it wasn't for them, I probably wouldn't have caught a break so much. So I'm thankful, I guess, from the other countries, they're less reluctant to just jump in and be like, hey, you know, give us a few beats there. Like,
yeah. And like, I even looking at your kind of Bandcamp, kind of who you've worked with, like you've worked with Big Man Davey, as you mentioned before, Lil Nate, you mentioned Dames, Shyson, Ricky P, Strange Boy, you know, all these good names, as well as Skeet up in Northern Ireland. Yeah. And obviously you've been around in the scene for so long, but what kind of advice would you give to kind of young rappers or people who are just starting off trying to get their name out there? What would be kind of the key things that you'd be like, okay, try and do this because it'll work out better for you in the long run?
It'd be all pretty typical stuff, like, you know, be yourself. Don't rush it. I think, me personally, I did rush stuff at the very beginning in some cases, whether it was with beats or releasing rap stuff. But, you know, you live and you learn. Like, I know I've improved a lot since then, that, like, I'd like to think people aren't looking back at songs I made 6 years ago and rating me off that, you know what I mean? But I'd say don't jump into it, hone your craft. Certainly don't give a fuck what your friends or people are saying. Like, I know I said earlier, it's cooler to be a rapper now, and it's less of a thing that people frown upon, but like, you're still going to get people who, like, because I mean, I was getting to a point, like, you know, people will be asking me what I'm doing. They might meet me after a few years from finishing school. Like, what are you at these days? Like, oh, I'm producing rap beats. I'm a rapper now. And they're just like, what? Like, are you serious? Like, I'm not surprised that you're doing that, but like, what the fuck? And like, that's kind of stupid. Like, but when they actually see like what you're doing, like, Irish people are kind of like that. They're dismissive in a sense. Like, you know, what? Irish fella doing rap and stuff like that. Yeah, you'd be surprised. There's a whole country of us doing it now. Like, but yeah, like, again, as I said, like, years ago when I was saying it, it was always kind of like, oh, all right, like, that's cool. Like, that was the most positivity I'd get from it at all. But now, like, generally, even the average person is like, wow, that's pretty cool. Like, do you know Versatile? I was like, no, I don't know Versatile. Like, that's the first question I always get asked. Like, no, I don't know them. Like, because they're the most popular. Everyone knows them. Like, was like, I don't know them, but I know all these guys, and I've produced these tracks. And it's like, you know, there's a few hundred there you can give a listen to. Like, you know, it's cool like that, yeah.
And obviously, like, you've been around for so long, as I mentioned. Do you think there's kind of that divide between kind of the new school or the old school kind of artists compared to the new school? Like, are they kind of joining together? Is that bridge kind of forming, or do you think it's two separate lanes?
The old school lads like guys who just make the kind of music that they make, you know, or they like, you know, and it's kind of normal. Like, I'm only 24, but I would consider myself old school. Like, my favorite rappers are all over the age of 30, you know, and in Ireland at least, like, but the thing is then, like, I get on very well with them, like, and they like the stuff that I listen to and the stuff that, you know, they acknowledge that I'm very into their stuff, do you know what I mean? And there might be younger artists that I'd be more open to listening to that they might dismiss because of just, it's not what on their vibe, like, you know, but I definitely kind of get on better with the old school kind of group, and they're the guys I would prefer to make music to. And I do have some secret projects in the works with a lot of the artists I would have like have on my preference list. There's definitely a divide. Like there's like the older guys dismissing the younger guys, but the younger guys are just as guilty for being like, you know, fuck that old shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, I could show, and I've shown younger rappers like 18, 19, like Costello or Re-Raw and something like that. And they won't say it's bad, but they're like, I just, you know, but I prefer this. Like, and it's, I just feel alienated then. It's like, how is that better than this? Like, but it's just natural. You know what I mean? It's just preference. Like, you know, I think I'm open to a lot of stuff, like, but I'll be honest, for the most part, like a lot of the stuff that's like the forefront of the new stuff, I wouldn't really be with it. Like, but like there's pockets here and there that are very good. But yeah, generally a lot of the old school lads, they'll fuck with lads that are making similar stuff to them. I mean, I'm sure the younger lads would too with older lads, but there just isn't that many lads who are over the age of, say, 25, 26 that are making trap or drill or that kind of stuff. You know, that tends to be their preference. Like, so it's just a natural divide, but there is the typical kind of like, fuck them young cats. Like, I couldn't be arsed with them. And then, you old bastard, I want to do nothing with you. Like, and that's, you know, it's just generational things. Like, I mean, is it any different in America? I don't really think so. Like, a lot of them, the old school guys bitch all day about Kodak Black and 21 Savage, like, and I tend to agree with what they're coming up with, but like, it's like there's too much focus on it too. It's like, just, you know, whatever, like, you know, your time is kind of gone and this is what the kids like, sadly. Do you know what I mean? You know, you can sell out and make that stuff instead if you want, or you can just keep doing what you're doing. And I mean, you've still got a way bigger fan base than I have, so I mean, I wouldn't be complaining if I was one of them. But yeah, like, I just, as I said, it's natural, like, for that to happen. I don't really think it's any worse than any other music scene or rap scene in the world. Like, but it would be nicer if people kind of intermingled a bit better, I guess.
Yeah, and do you think that, like, do you think there's something missing from the Irish scene to kind of get it to that level? Because I've talked to Hyphen before in interviews, or in an interview recently on this podcast, and obviously the kind of UK and the US are kind of the big markets for kind of the rap scene. Do you think Ireland can make it to that level? And like, what do you think is missing that we aren't at the same level?
Definitely, yeah. I think for one, it's just natural outreach. Like, you know, England might be just our neighbors, but it's a much bigger country with a much older rap scene, and that's, you know, been more prevalent for years upon years. Like, but I think Ireland's slowly rising. But like, what's missing, I think, just like, it's not like, it's more so like across the younger generation. I feel a lot like it's good to be selfish in a sense. Like, you want to succeed, you want to be successful. Like, obviously you're happy for other people to be successful, but like, I think there's a bit of self-centeredness from a lot of people. Like, and it's natural and it's good, but I think sometimes it's kind of like, it's too far. Like, it's like not wanting to acknowledge other artists, or just kind of know this kind of fuck you attitude that people tend to have. It's like, it is kind of hurting the scene a bit more. Like, because if we all got together, like, yes, maybe less of us would be counted as the best rapper or whatever like that. And if that's your way of thinking, that's fair enough. But like, just imagine things we could do. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, any of the gigs, say like the Breaking Down Borders gigs up north and then down in Limerick that I had a bit of a hand in, like they were class. Like, it was, and the way that it was, you know, it was some of the rappers I didn't even know of before from the north and stuff like that. But like, it was a really, really fun thing. Like, and especially the one that was down in Limerick, like, there was even more of a mix from all around the country, like, and stuff like that. You know, whether it was Connacht, there was rappers from all four provinces, I put it that way, at all three of those gigs, which was something I'd never seen before personally at another gig. Like, so I think more people willing to do that would be a good thing, you know, get more people more friendly with each other. Because I think a lot of people just dislike each other, but that's based on their social media personas. Like, you've never even met the fella, but like, you just assume you don't like him. It's like, you know, it tends to be different in real life a lot of the case, and people kind of get hung up on that. Like, but I don't think really anything's missing necessarily, like, massively. Like, it's all just natural kind of stuff that kind of occurs. Like, but like, I think we're on a good railway line at the moment, upward trajectory, to put it that way. Like, I like, yeah, as I said, like, I think the scene has really, really exploded in the last couple of years. Like, just in general. Like, I mean, when I started off, like, as I said, I know I didn't know as many artists, but I know still there wasn't as many out there. Like, there was the old school guys from the various places, like whether it was up north or in Dublin and stuff like that. But there wasn't a whole lot of people that were young, starting out and kind of, you know, getting in the groove of things. It was still very small, but I think just in the last couple of years, it's like people are really, really kind of jumping on board and getting involved, like, which is a great thing. So that can only get bigger and bigger as the years go on.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like you could even look at Denise Trella and God knows and Merlo, who've been on, RT, getting on the Late Late Show and all that. Hazy Hayes was on it as well. And it's always great to see that being on, the national broadcaster. Don't know where my tongue was going there. And it's great. Like that kind of gives inspiration for younger people to kind of see it. Like it's on TV. Like people are appreciating this kind of more. Obviously, we're kind of heading towards greater things, and it's great to see that happen. What's kind of your aim for 2021? I know we've gone through January, we're into February now when this is being recorded. What's kind of the aim for the rest of the year, or what's in store?
Well, I wouldn't necessarily call it an aim because I know I'll do it, but it's to finish obviously the 3 projects I'm currently working on, and then I some way I'd say toward the end of the year, I'd say me and Jason will get started on the field literature project, the next one. And I know for a fact with that one, like that one has to be the one, like the magnum opus, like with the plans we have for that. Like I've just like really put like a certain level of detail into like what we're going to write about and what we're going to do for our music, and like that's the whole conscious side of my music. And Trust, obviously that's his entire style, whether it's history or politics or the way that things are going on in the world, like, and like we're really really going to like go for it with that one. Like I'm not going to reveal anything at all, but like we're really kind of going very deep, and like I'm reading books to like educate myself to actually write about certain topics and stuff like that. And like it's basically a lot of the events that have happened around the world in the last maybe 2 years, like it's not just going to be given out about the lockdown, say it's an entire conspiracy, but obviously I have my certain opinions on certain aspects of what's been going on the last year. But like I wanted to kind of touch on a variety of things, and I don't want to be this enlightening, preachy guy, who's like just a guy who's just saying all these things like I'm really deep and like on a higher level, when it's just like general knowledge and stuff like that. But it's just kind of just to at least put something out there that's not just, kind of, it might be a good song, but for the most part, it's just verbal garbage. That's just, I'm just throwing out there and just talking shite, you know what I mean? Like something that I can take to the grave, that it won't be like, oh, that's just the rapper who said fuck a lot of times and just, was being vulgar. Like he made some, stuff that I guess is more universal. Like that's as universal as I'll get. Besides maybe the trap stuff, it's as universal as my music will get, where maybe people who don't even listen to rap could appreciate it. Whereas I think for the most part, the stuff I make myself, like if you're not a hip hop fan, I wouldn't put my song on and be like, this is going to get him into hip hop. It's probably going to turn him off and more like. But any other goals? We wanted to run gigs, obviously, but the way things are, it's not going to happen this year, at least I don't think. Just keep progressing the Bad Arts label. We have a website coming out at some point. It was actually a friend of mine just wanted to do something for a college project, and he asked, could he do a website for us as Bad Arts? And it's that good that we were like, look, it's basically a free website, like why not? So we're going to launch that at some point, and it's looking really, really well. Besides that, like, I don't know, really just keep working on music, but like, I mean, just general stuff, yeah, and hopefully just up my popularity level and the label's popularity level too. Like, get to a bigger point and a more recognized point in my career, if you want to call it that. Like just general stuff, but nothing too great. Like you can't really put anything in stone right now with the way things are. Like, you know what I mean? I can't say like, oh, I hope to do this or hope to be here or be there. Like, probably still going to be at the same fucking position in a good few months, sadly. Like so. So yeah, just pretty generic goals, really, to be honest. Like.
And is there anything that you want to kind of plug before we wrap up the show?
Obviously, Bad Arts Entertainment is our new label based in Limerick mainly. Like there's myself, Size, MCB, Big Man Davey, Trust, Callum Drought. Just tune into our stuff, check us out. We're all on YouTube, we're all on SoundCloud, we're all on Spotify, we're all on Bandcamp. There's a Bandcamp hub label page that will link you to all of our accounts and stuff like that. Maybe buy some of the music if you like it. We like that because we don't get nothing from Spotify or anything like that. If there's any rappers out there that are looking for beats, I'll happily, if you're a solid rapper, I'll happily hand out a couple for free. But from there, I tend to charge a small fee. You know what I mean? Like, so if you're looking for beats or want me to make beats, I can do that for you. Besides that, really, no, not too much. Like, just tune into the music if you're interested. Like, and that's about it, really.
It's an absolute pleasure to have you on the show, and I hope to get you back on when these projects are near the date and kind of, inspire other rappers to kind of get themselves and get those CDs and get those tracks stuck in their head It's been an absolute pleasure, and man, you're very talented. I can't wait to see what you have in store. Can't wait to turn these up full blast and listen to your music as I do. And look, to anyone listening or watching, I'll see you in the next one.